Welcome you all to Believers As Academy. In today's topic of the day discussion, we will be discussing about stubble burning. So recently, the Punjab state has witnessed more number of pollution, and also the reason being stubble burning. And this is one of the biggest contentious issues in the country. And ever since last many years, even despite the government's continuous request to the farmers, especially in the Punjab and even in the national capital region, that is Delhi, people, especially the farmers, have been constantly getting into stubble burning, and this has very adverse effects to the climate and also at the same time to the soil, right? And in fact, it pretty much makes entire situation even more worse for the people of the country. So in this today's particular video, let's understand what stubble burning is, and mostly with respect to Punjab region, and also we will discuss what are the alternatives that the farmers can utilize in order to prevent the pollution or the degradation which is being caused due to this stubble burning. So let's start the video. So why are we studying this is because recently, even despite the government's appeal and constant penalties on farmers who are indulging in stubble farming, the Punjab region has recorded almost 743 instances of stubble burning in the state, and this is considered as one of the highest in the particular year, especially in the Amritsar district and also Tarn Taran district. And also this 743 stubble burning cases is higher this time, still on the greater level, because if you have to compare it with the 2023, this is still very less as compared to the numbers that prevailed in 2023, because this is the 70% drop. Even with 743 stubble burning, it is still 70% drop in the 2023 cases, but still is one of the highest contributor for the air pollution, especially the winter air pollution or the famous smog that gets accumulated in the Delhi-NCR. So what is this stubble burning? So stubble burning, if you see the picture, it is basically when the farmer is done with a particular crop. So let's say here in this case, it's the rice. Once the rice is harvested, then with the residue, right, the things which, or let's say the residual which is left after the harvesting is done. So in order to make sure that the farmer clears this as early as possible so that he can sow the next crop instantly, he has to clear the land first. So now what is the most cheapest and the most quicker option? He just simply puts the entire stubble or the residue or the waste into fire. So with this, what are the issues? So the major issue with this is that it not only creates pollution, but also it destroys the soil as well, the topsoil which is fertile, the topsoil which also contains good bacteria. Even they are being destroyed because of this stubble burning. It's like the mass killing of these good bacteria on the soil. So this also affects the soil profile of the particular region as well. So this is what the problem is. So now if we try and look at the background as to when this actually started, it started way back in the 70s, the early 70s or the late 70s, especially after the Green Revolution, when the country started using all the machinized harvesting machines, especially for sowing or even for harvesting. So what happened? The residue that was collected or accumulated was rapidly increasing over a period of time. So in order for the farmers to quickly clear the fields, and especially to make sure that the land is clear for the next sowing, because if you see in Punjab's case, right now the farmers have harvested the rice, which is your kharif crop. Kharif crops are those that are pretty much grown especially in the rainy season between the months of June to September. And once the rice is harvested, the farmer would definitely want to sow the next crop, which is your wheat, which is also your rabi crop. And by the way, rabi crops are those crops which are grown during the winters An example being the wheat as one of the biggest or the classic example. And talking about the crop types, we have another which is zaid, which mostly is grown during the summer seasons. Example, cucumber, watermelon, correct? So now in order for the farmer to make sure that the land is available, the field is available for the next crop, which is wheat, and that too within a very short period of time, usually within 10 to 15 days. So the instant solution that the farmer has is just burn the field, burn the stash, right? And that is what happens. And considering how much of acres of land, we have about 31.72 lakh hectares of land in Punjab, which are currently under paddy cultivation, and over half of this 31.72 lakh is harvested. And imagine almost 15.72, or let's say 15 lakh hectares of paddy field is burnt, and the kind of pollution that it creates, right? The kind of harmful effluents that it releases, right? So that is all the biggest problem. So hence, the problem of stubble burning has been one of the biggest contentious issues in the country. So now let's kind of look at what the problem of this stubble burning is. Because see, first and foremost thing is the air pollution. So when I say air pollution, there are few important chemicals that gets released. One is your carbon monoxide, correct? And also with that, other harmful effluents or toxin released chemicals like your methane. Even that also gets eliminated, or let's say, sorry, that also gets released to the atmosphere. And especially with the air pollution, these release that happens to the atmosphere usually contains particulate matter 2.5 and even particulate matter 10 in the effluents that it releases, and this even worsens the smog conditions in the North India. And talking about the second impact, because the next byproduct of this air pollution is the health impact, which normally gets visible, and this can be seen as long-term cardiovascular diseases, and also this can affect the respiratory tract of people whosoever inhales this gas, or let's say this particular air. And also with that is your soil degradation, because of putting the entire field into fire, or let's say burning the entire field, it destroys all the beneficial organisms in the soil as well, and this directly reduces the soil fertility also. And most importantly, on a long term, even it affects the climate also, because it emits some of the important greenhouse gases like your carbon dioxide, methane, and even this contributes to the global warming, which can even increase the effects. And also last but not the least, the economic cost, because it also affects tourism. Even it reduces the labor productivity, and also it increases healthcare expenditure of the people of the country as well. So these are all the problems which are associated with stubble burning. So now what is the alternative to stubble burning then, right? Because farmers needs to find a ready solution so that they can completely get away with this problem, because it is highly difficult or highly imperative, or it's highly impractical to tell the farmers to stop burning or to stop following this stubble burning, because they're not doing it deliberately because of some sadistic happiness that they want to create the pollution, right? Because they are doing it because they don't have any other option, because now also simultaneously for the country, what is more important is also to double the farmer's income, and obviously farmer's income is directly related and directly connected to the kind of crops he grows, and the time the right time when he harvests, and also at the same time he should get the right price. So considering the farmer's point of view, even farmers to some extent they are also correct, but what is the alternative? If the alternative that has been suggested, and if that alternative has properly been told, or awareness has been created to the farmer to use those alternatives, should the farmers be able to use it? So now what are the alternatives methods if you have to think about? One is the mechanical waste, introduction of new machines. For example, we have happy seeder and super seeder. So it's a machine that simultaneously sows wheat seeds even without having to cut this stubble, or even without having to cut the residue, and this directly implants, or let's say this directly sows the wheat without removing the residue, right? So this is one of the alternative. Next alternative is the Pusat decomposer. It is a bioenzyme which was developed by the ICAR, which is your Indian Council of Agricultural Research. So this was mostly to decompose stubble burning naturally. So what happens? Pusat decompose usually comes in a tablet format. So it comes like a capsule. So what is the procedure? So the capsule has to be mixed with some other materials, like they usually mix it with jaggery, sugarcane juice, and this capsules are converted into the liquid form, and then it is sprayed to the particular field. And just within 20 to 25 days, the stubbles or the residue, the paddy residue, automatically gets decomposed. So it not only clears the land, but also makes sure that the land or the field is getting the natural manure as well, correct? So this is also one of the alternative Pusat decomposers. And next is the mulching and zero tillage. So what happens here? It retains moisture and improves soil quality. So what happens is the farmers, they don't burn the entire stubble, or they don't burn the residue. Rather, what they do is they keep it, or let's say they place it, or they just leave it on the ground itself, and this is called mulching. And also, without even doing any further tillage, they directly sow the crops, right? So this is also another method where you can just utilize the already present residue, which acts like those agents which can also trap moisture, which will be helpful for the further seeds which are sown. And also this, over a period of time, when it decomposes, it becomes natural manure or fertilizer, acts as a fertilizer to these crop also. So this is also another technology or another technique which can be used, mulching and zero tillage. Apart from this, there are other means where you can also make sure that the residue, especially the spillage, or let's say the residue matter, is used for the biofuel production also, because right now the country is, or has already achieved its E20 ethanol, right? E20 ethanol production has already been achieved by the country. So now country is planning, in fact India is planning to even go forward with E30 and probably in the future E100, like Brazil and other super countries which are actually doing it. So now this even reduces our dependence on foreign oil, foreign crude oil especially. So hence this biomass can be used even for the biofuel production also. So a lot of government intervention is also required, where the farmers are educated about how this biomass can be utilized in the production of biofuel, so that even the farmers gets incentivized for this. It's not that they take it for free. So now if money is associated, even the farmers will feel some happiness, or let's say some incentives are definitely being given. So hence farmers also will do it. So that is also one of the ways or alternatives that the government can do. So anyway, at the end, what is the way forward? One is introduce an economic incentive to the farmer, probably like a direct cash support, which we just discussed, so that eco-friendly residue management systems can be employed in a particular state, and also bring in more technological adoption, right? And also these technological adoption that the country does in terms of having more new machinery, right, has to be made sure that it is made affordable to the people, especially the farmers, so that the accessibility is also made free for everyone, right? And also custom hiring centers also should be created in order to make sure that these new machineries are being made available. And lastly, it is also important that the behaviors of the farmers also should be changed. So how is this possible? First and foremost thing is awareness. To create awareness through various campaigns, and also a lot of community-led monitoring systems, starting from the village level, is also the need of the hour, so that awareness is created amongst the farmers, so that ultimately even they change the behavior as well, right? So that is all for this particular video. So now before we end the video, let's solve one prelims question. Consider the following statements regarding stubble burning in India. The Pusat decomposer is a microbial solution developed by ICAR to manage crop residue. The happy seeder is used for burning paddy straw more efficiently. Stubble burning significantly contributes to winter air pollution in Delhi-NCR. Which of the statements given above are correct? So use the comment section, leave your answers below. Anyway, that's all for this particular video. Signing off, this is Madan Gopal. Have a beautiful day.